Hello everybody and welcome to my highlights of Virtual Racing Championship here at Russia for round number 16 I believe of the championship. If you haven't heard of VRC before, it's a league which is relatively new and takes place on Wednesday nights on PS4, and the calendar runs in parallel with the AOR calendar as well. So you may recognise the name of this league from when I competed at the start of the season. I believe I uploaded my rounds 1, 2 and 3 where I got 2 wins and a second I believe. And then from there until about round 11 or 10 I still competed, but well, in the races which I did compete in, I'd kind of just turn up. I'd never really have any time to prepare. I'd always just grab a setup and go, so it'd kind of be a bit of a pointless exercise, so it wasn't really worth uploading. I think I got one more podium at Monaco, but yeah, after round 11, after Germany, I became a reserve in this league, where I basically just turn up when I can and try and prepare as best as possible for AOR on Sundays. So that's what we're doing here at Russia. So I could make this round. Usually I can't make Wednesday nights, but I could for this round. So yeah, we're just going to try and have a fairly decent race here, and we're just going to try and learn as much about the track and setups and strategy, etc. in this race as we can, well, as much as possible, so we can be as prepared for AOR this Sunday. I was just going to try and make the most of this opportunity because, as I said, usually I can't make this this league because just college work takes priority and I never really have the time to make Wednesday nights. But you may recognise quite a few of the names in this league. A lot of the drivers in here are either from AOR F1 and AOR F2. You will recognise Williams Jim Roy, Michael as well, Lucas Blakely, and maybe a few others as well from F2. But yeah, it's a pretty competitive league, and I think a lot of drivers do the same thing as me and use it just really to prepare for AOR, seeing as the calendar is in parallel with the AOR calendar. But you can see crossing the line there, we set a 29.6, which wasn't really a great qualifying time, but that puts us P4 on the grid, and you can see the 3 in front are currently the top 3 in the AOR championship as well. So yeah, let's see what we can do in this race. Let's see how much we can learn. So away we go here, and to be fair, my start there was actually pretty decent. I've been working on my starts a little bit. I think I've just about gotten sussed finally on this game. It's taken me quite a while, but heading towards turn number 2, we're taking it pretty cautiously. Here you can see Lee Finley is going down the inside, and we actually slightly hit the curb then. That gave us quite a poor run there out of turn 2, but going around this really nice corner here. I do like this corner. But you can see now heading towards turn number 5, Lee Finley goes down the inside and brakes pretty late and runs off the track and remains in front of us there in P4. So we want to try and get back past him because we don't want to lose too much time to the 3 in front, who I know obviously are very, very fast from AOR F1, and they are currently, as I said, top 3 in the championship. So if we can stick with those guys, then we know our pace is going to be pretty decent. So yeah, I was just going to try and learn from them as much as I can. But another thing to add here for this VRC race was that I was also trying out my one of my spare Logitech wheels that was kindly given to me by Veloce Esports, because with my other wheel I had, which I mentioned it in the Singapore AOR video, where I've got a problem with the downshifting, so I wanted to try out a new wheel here. But you can see going down the inside of Lee Finley into this 90-degree right-hander, and now going around the outside throughout the next part, and we should have the move done into the chicane now. So going around the outside, maintaining the position in P4. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm running a new wheel, which yeah, it takes a while to get used to, compared with a wheel which I've been using for pretty much 2 years. To use a brand new wheel, even though it is the same wheel, it does take quite a while to get used to. And for some reason I was also on this wheel still having the downshifting problem, where sometimes it didn't actually register you shifting down. So I'm not too sure as to why that is. Maybe it's just a new wheel sort of thing, but maybe I just got to give it a bit more time. But yeah, it doesn't really make sense as to why. But you can see Michael here at the end of lap 6 has gone into the pits, and he took the lead off Lucas, who I think was starting to struggle on his tyres. But we were running quite a conservative setup, not really too great in quali, but it was good on the tyres. And you can see now at the end of the stint we managed to catch up with the leaders pretty quickly. I was outside of a second of them for a while, but then towards the end of the stint I managed to gain time on them, purely because our tyre wear was good with the setup. And yeah, now into the pits at the end of lap 7. The tyres still actually felt pretty decent at the end of that lap, but I didn't want to get undercut by Michael. Well, I probably would have been, but I didn't want to be undercut by a massive amount, if you know what I mean. And Lucas also came in to the pits, as you can see in front of us. Deagle stayed out for another lap, so he was obviously in a pretty comfortable position with his tyres as well. But you can see Williams Jim Tim there sets the fast lap of the race. I believe he had pitted at that stage, I'm not too sure, but he's out in front of us anyway. So is Michael, he's out in front as well, and it looks like he's got a pretty big gap on us as well. So yeah, we've got to try and just get into a rhythm immediately. It's a pretty easy one stop around here, going from the hyper softs to the ultra softs, as you can see. So it should be pretty easy to get to the end of the race. But you can see Best Bob is off to the side there, and we easily get past him. And Lucas is already right up behind Williams Jim Tim as well, and we are pretty close to the back of them as well. So with DRS, it's fairly easy, well, it is pretty easy to stick with the cars in front, because DRS around here is another track where it's just so powerful that it's basically who can remain in the DRS and slipstream of each other, and you've got to be quite tactical with it. If you can remain at the back of a group, then you can just save your fuel in ERS. But you would have seen there that Lucas went for a move on Tim, I think, into that corner, and I think he got damaged from that, because you can see at the end of this lap he comes into the pits again for a change of front wing, and I think he retired in the end as well. So yeah, a little bit of contact there with Tim Palm, so unfortunate for him in this race. But that now puts us up into a provisional P3, and you can see Williams Jim Roy as well is coming out the pits now, and we have managed to jump him, although we are on one lap older ultra soft tyres, but that shouldn't really make much of a difference. So now I was just trying to get past Tim Palm and then hopefully try and hunt down Michael, who had pretty good pace once again. But heading into this race around Russia, I wasn't really expecting too much from my pace, and it was definitely better than I thought at this stage anyway. But we're going for a move on Tim Palm into this 90-degree right-hander at the end of the back straight, but he brakes a little bit later than us. We're trying some cutback lines here, and we're trying to set up a move towards the chicane, and we're going to look to the inside there, but we can't quite get the move done. And now we're going to try the cutback once again, but he manages to park it on the apex there pretty nicely, and we get a poor run out of that corner as we now head towards the final couple of corners as well. So there's also Cherry 2 Pie in front of him as well, so we want to try and get past these guys as quickly as possible, and yeah, remain in front of Roy as well. But we don't want to lose too much time to Michael, because you can see already he's about a second and a half or something in front of Cherry 2 Pie, maybe even more. So if we can get past these guys, then hopefully we can try and hunt him down, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes as we now head into turn number 1 and 2 here. Well, effectively turn number 1, it's the first proper corner on this track, and we're trying to set up a move here for turn 5 like Hamilton did on Vettel in a way. We're going down it inside, and we tried the move there. It was kind of a 50-50 move. Tim Palm goes a little bit wider. Now we have to defend from Roy into this another 90-degree right-hander, and we defend that pretty nicely. But usually this track is not one I really like too much. I don't like the flow of it. It's not really a fun and interesting track, but on this game it's actually quite enjoyable to drive, and I certainly found that in this race. I didn't really mind it at all compared to F1 2017 and 16, where it wasn't really that fun to drive, even though I've always been fairly decent around here. But you can see now Tim Palm in front is going for a move on Cherry 2 Pie at the end of the back straight here, and he manages to get that just about done, although Cherry 2 Pie still sticks his nose up the inside and tries to get that move back. But you can see now into the chicane, we go down the inside of Cherry 2 Pie, and he lets us go in the end there, so we managed to get through on him pretty easily. And now we've got to try and get past Tim Palm. I think Cherry 2 Pie as well is now starting to hold up Williams Jim Roy, and you can see we've cut the corner there, and we've got to be careful of that around here, because it is ridiculously easy to get corner cutting penalties and extending track limit penalties around here. So that's definitely going to be a big factor in AOR on Sunday. But you can see now this lap we've got a good run on Tim Palm towards turn number 2. We're going to look to the outside, but that's never really going to work. He defends that pretty nicely. He defended the inside line there very well as well. But round this long turn 4, which is a corner I do enjoy driving, and we've got a fairly decent run on him. We fake it to the inside there, and he defends the inside line. Now we've got a small cutback on him, but we can't quite go for a move into the next corner. He defends it pretty well once again, and we're losing a lot of time to Michael by fighting Tim Palm like this. He absolutely extends track limits there by a long shot. So yeah, it's really difficult to get past Tim Palm at this stage. He was defending pretty well, but also he was running off track quite a lot in order to defend, and this is now pushing me back towards Williams Jim Roy. And as I said, Michael now probably has about a 3 or 4 second gap in front, so we're losing quite a bit of time to him. But we know that our setup is best towards the end of the stints as well. So looking to the outside now of Tim Palm, and this time we defend the inside line. I think he almost made contact with the back of me there, but we managed to get the move done, and now we're up into P4, which is effectively P2 out the guys, well, it is P2 out the guys that are pitted, so that is a good position. We're on the podium right now, and we got Roy right behind us, so I was thinking about maybe letting him go, because then we can just sit behind him and save ERS, save fuel, and then I think his pace was probably slightly better than mine as well, so he could probably drag us up towards Michael. But you can see Michael is 5.9 seconds in front of us now, so we've lost a heap of time to him in front, and now you can see down the straight I'm not even going to defend to Roy behind. He goes down inside into turn number 2 there, and now I was just planning on, for the next 10 or so laps, just sitting behind him trying to save ERS and fuel and seeing how good his pace was, and yeah, seeing if he could drag me up towards the back of Michael. And you can see now moving on to lap 19, he's actually done that within 7 laps. My pace wasn't bad, but I have to say I think without slipstream and DRS I probably wouldn't have been able to stick with him, but it's just so powerful, so we were able to save a lot of ERS and a lot of fuel. And you can see my ERS is on 100% now with 8 laps of the race remaining, and we are now right on the back of Michael effectively as well. So now we're in the fight for a win, although I did pick up quite a few time penalties. I think I had 3 time penalties in the end of this race, so yeah, that's just what comes really of not preparing around here. I wasn't too aware of how bad the track limits were. I think before this race the only laps I'd done around this track were on open lobbies or on time trial, so I'd never really done too much around here on this game, but our pace seems to be pretty decent. And now you can see Williams Jim Roy goes down the inside here of Michael into this 90-degree right-hander at the end of the back straight, and he gets the move done into the lead. So I think now Michael was already starting to struggle in his tyres, so I wanted to get past him as quickly as possible in order to remain in touch with Williams Jim Roy to try and fight for the win. So we go around the outside now of Michael, we make a little bit of contact there, and I lost control of the car on the exit. We're lucky not to get any damage from that or anything, but Michael managed just to stay in front, and now you can see Roy is already starting to pull away from us. So I knew at the stage we just got to try and get past Michael down this straight, yeah, because else we're going to lose DRS and we're going to lose slipstream, and then we probably won't be able to stick with Roy. So towards turn number 2 we're going to look to the inside. He defends the inside there pretty aggressively, and you can see we almost make contact there into turn number 2, and he gets a bad run out of turn 3 as well. So around this long turn 4, maybe we can set up a move towards the next corner, and we get a good run on him. We go towards the inside here and we get the move done. We break it a little bit later than him, and we defend the inside line as well, and now we're in P2. But you can see already Williams Jim Roy is effectively 1.7 seconds in front of us now, just through that sequence of corners of just losing a bit of time by being behind Michael. And I think, yeah, Michael's setup was probably a little bit more, well, it was quite a bit more aggressive than mine, because you can see already he's starting to struggle on his tyres. But now on to lap 24, Williams Jim Roy's pace was too good for us. He was starting to pull away, and we couldn't pull away from Michael because of the DRS and slipstream. So you can see here on lap 24 I just let him go, because now I thought it's my turn to save a bit of ERS and fuel whilst he sort of drags us along with the DRS and slipstream, and then hopefully later on we can try and set up a move before the end of the race. But I don't think Michael had any penalties at this stage in the race, and Deagle I think had 2, where we had 3. So yeah, Deagle has already got quite a bit of a gap on us anyway, and with 1 less penalty he's going to be in front of us, and with Michael with no penalties he's going to finish in front of us as well. But you can see now on to lap 26, I thought now is the time to take the place back on Michael. We saved quite a bit of ERS on those couple of laps there, and now we can use it to try and pull away once we got through pretty easily there. And I think at this stage he knew as well that I had a penalty, because he wasn't really fighting me too hard either, and he knew that he just got to stick in my DRS and he will take the win around here in VRC. But Williams Jim Roy will take the win on the track, but with his 6 seconds worth of time penalties I don't think he's going to have enough of a gap to Michael by the end of the race here. So yeah, it's 4.3 seconds in front and then a further 7/10 back to Michael. But at the end of this race Williams Jim Roy actually took the title in VRC. He never really had too much competition this season at all. I think he did have quite a bit of competition from me at the start with my 2 wins and a 2nd place in the first 3 rounds, but then from there I just couldn't really prepare or practice, or yeah, just know what I was doing basically heading into each race. And I also missed quite a few races in the first half of the season as well. So racing as a reserve here, we take P3, which is a good result, and I definitely learnt a lot, which is the whole point of racing here, is to learn for AOR on Sunday. So that was a good race. Finished P2 on the road, P3 after penalties. So hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you for AOR Russia. So I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.